I would like to speak on the childlike nature of God and the childlike nature of our solar presence and our true reality. We can make great progress on the path when we have a childlike spirit and nature. And we enter into the flame of the Holy Spirit through spontaneity. We can resolve issues very quickly because as children we may remember things that have occurred to us where there was conflict. And children naturally tend to forgive and forget quickly. I believe that most children don't really hold grudges. We somehow learn to do this as we grow older. If you interrupt a child when they're having an issue, even a tantrum, and point out something else in their environment that's going on and distract them, they can just forget all about the terrible twos or whatever is happening and be awed by what you're sharing with them, and then they can move past their temporary fixation on a want, a hurt, whatever. Well, if you translate this spiritually, sometimes we get fixated on belief systems, we get fixated on an issue, an ancient karmic issue, that sometimes we don't resolve for lifetimes. A problem with a particular life stream with whom we've had maybe a love-hate relationship over many lifetimes, and this back and forth, tit-for-tat, energetic violence or whatever appeasement. And if we can learn to unlearn what the human ego and the tyrant ego dweller has taught us and return to our childlike nature of innocence, perfection, and beauty and grace, we can more easily get through these issues and resolve conflicts and move into higher consciousness. We've heard much lately about the great shift that is occurring and the new energies of Aquarius that are manifesting as these cosmic wave patterns of light coming to the earth. And the term new blue, which we gave in our prayer to beloved, or the song to beloved El Moria, the new blue is indicative of these frequencies that are emitted from the great central sun and from Sirius that are creating harmonic wave patterns and certain higher mind streams that are flowing to our earth. And only from a higher perceptive attitude and ability can we draw these resources into our active lives. In other words, these vibrations are coming, but only those whose heads are peaked and above the clouds, so to speak, to perceive these vibrations, and only those whose hearts are open to accept them and to work with them will truly benefit from the glorious God vibrations within these solar waves of light. Now, some may say, well, as a child, you are innocent because you don't have the burdens of adulthood and you don't have the responsibilities. And in one sense, that's true. Yet we also know that Alpha and Omega are the most childlike, just as the Ancient of Days, Sana Kumara, looks like a young individual, very young, and even the great divine director, as I have seen him at times, appears almost as a teenager or a very young youth. And Gautama Buddha also, at times I perceive, in the state of immortality with a very, very fresh outlook upon life from this state of perfection in this childlike spirit. So we learn a lot from children when we observe them in their quiescent state of beingness before they are polluted by the machinations of a culture that subjugates them to all manner of influences. And as parents, we can provide the highest vessel for their learning, for their divine education, for their experiential learning in nature, with gardens, with the proper tools and resources, so that they are not influenced by the mass media and get caught up in this miasma of human nonsense. Each of us, returning to our state of holy innocence, can access from our higher self, from our solar source, from our sun presence of light, these cosmic rays and frequencies that afford us a new way of thinking, a new consciousness, a new mindfulness. And we call this heart-centeredness. The new mindfulness, the new way of Aquarius is heart-centeredness, because the heart is wise. The heart energetically is more powerful than the brain. And when we are heart-centered and when we engage in what we've called heart streaming, we access these new blue frequencies that are not caustic, that are not part of the old paradigms, that are not wrapped up in the molecules and of aberrations of the old ways of dissonance and of dualistic thinking and dualism in general. These harmonic frequencies are emitted from the central sun with a type of presence that brings all possibilities into bearing in our world, that brings new waves of divine joy and light. And though at the cusp of an age, there is all kinds of dissonance and the challenges of the shift that is going on, like what occurs when you shift from one gear to another. If you're not quite right in the right groove, if you don't press the clutch down and shift properly, what happens? You have the grinding of those gears. So at the cusp of an age, those who are not quite at the energetic level of being able to bear the new frequencies suffer or go through struggle or strain or a sense of being out of alignment, and it becomes more difficult for them to really access the higher cities and powers of divine beingness. So how can we resolve these things? By being still, by accessing the heart virtues. And Robin Westman is here today, and he'll be with us tomorrow evening to talk about the heart virtues and some specific virtues that we can really incorporate into our spiritual path, our journey, and to really meditate upon and become, so that we are at the energetic level of presence to accommodate the highest energies of spirit that are flowing in the earth. We can bear within our body temples the shift that's manifesting, so that we can hold the balance for millions of life streams upon earth and allow the mass consciousness to be transmuted in one sense and become a new mass awareness of light and a new Christic patterning of beingness that can flow throughout our earth. We all know that we are living in this age of as precursors to the golden age. So we are feeling the energies of the old dispensation, translating and being transformed into something new and dynamic as the newer age is being given birth to. And so part of this alchemical process is that within our temple, within our heart, within our body, within our mind, within our soul and spirit, we have this self-transformation process occurring so that as we get the victory over what is manifesting, and as we accommodate the higher frequencies, many more people can also do this because we have energetically been the one with El Moria. We have allowed the Holy Spirit to flow through us, and we are living in the true principles and values of our Christic essence. So the Masters have, over the past 6 years through this dispensation, shared this teaching in many, many different ways, through different words, through the heartstreams, through the discourses, and you are all very wise in your soul in understanding this dynamic, and many of you are working on your mastership and your adeptship in higher and higher levels or shells of this orbit of your divine selfhood. And as you gain and maintain greater Christ consciousness, Buddhic consciousness, and cosmic consciousness, you become, with El Moria, with Om Ram, with the Masters of Love, Wisdom, Power, a vocal point and a focal point for the light to shine forth throughout our earth and even beyond our earth to the entire solar system and beyond. So as a blip of light on our earth, as one who can be entrusted and counted upon to bear these energies as the shift is manifesting, as the changes and the instant karmic reactions, actions and reactions occur upon earth, where the dynamic is so accelerated that it's like we get back instantly what we put out to learn our lesson and to grow by it. We are all moving higher. And as one within our movement gets it and rises into that Buddhic presence, the access point for that same manifestation is open as a portal for other people in our movement to experience the same thing. So as I experience the Master's presence, and as the blessings occur through the heartstreams and through our prayer services and the dynamics of all of our spiritual work, you feel it. And then as you feel it, you emanate it. And as you emanate it, others pick up on it. And as others pick up on it, then they are blessed, and they are somehow coming into their self-transformative state, their higher consciousness, and it spreads and it spreads and it spreads. Now we're seeing, as Saint Germain shared the other day in his heartstream, this rise in awareness where people feel like they are not going to take any longer the darkness of the impositions of the international bankers, what's going on in the United States and the economy, and people are demanding, the truth be known, they're demanding equal rights, so to speak. And of course we have to watch this because there are other forces at play that are attempting to co-opt this movement in a way that could turn ugly. And Saint Germain warned us about that. Yet at the core of what is occurring, it is this feeling of this change, this feeling and dynamism that the world is not quite right yet, and that we must make it right. We must change the civilization. We must change the way we do business, and that these conglomerates of power and these manipulators have to be called to task, and the entire civilization has to change. Well, how will it change? It changes first within us. We have to be the nexus of that change and that transformation. And when we get it, when we live in our integrity, when we value all the spiritual principles that we know are true and fully apply them day by day, moment by moment, we live in our presence, we live in pure love, then the process of transformation begins to accelerate. Others pick up on that divine love, which is what Aquarius is destined to outpicture, and our entire culture and civilization is changed literally in the twinkling of an eye into a new world. So every time an individual like James McCaffrey ascends, that one brings to earth new light, new revelation, new opportunity for souls. And as that one has merged into their presence and had that ultimate aha, voila experience of completely being assimilated into God, into the one light, into the one communal spirit, the egregor of the universal brotherhood of the spirit, sisterhood of light, then that one is another focal point in the heaven world to bring blessing, boon, benevolence to souls upon earth. So we thank you, James McCaffrey, for your constancy. Thank you, Sir Llewellyn, for your light. We can call upon you now, especially whenever there are issues with children, to assist us in manifesting balance, harmony, oneness, and our perfection.